Hello dears, and welcome back to the channel Benidorm by Anna. Today we are in Benidorm city center right next to the famous techno hit, and it's time for the latest news update. First of all, let's talk about the situation in tourism in general. We've been quite surprised because we've seen way more people arriving right now starting from September, first days of it, and there are still some families that don't have children of school age that are slightly younger or older than the school aged ones, and there's a lot of families arriving here still. Obviously, it's also due to the fact that the prices here are slightly lower right now than when they were in July and August months. So very busy. You can actually see it right now in the city center. There's people everywhere around us. There's tourists, there's families with children, without children, a lot of stag and hen parties. A huge amount of them has been checking into different Benidorm hotels. Usually it's in spring, summer, but somehow right now is the new tendency. Right now is the new fashion of coming in September, probably. There's a lot of these groups that you are actually able to see right now in different streets of Benidorm town. A lot of bars, restaurants, cafeterias, some of them went on holidays for a couple of days to recover from summer, to give free days for their workers, but will be returning very soon full speed into the autumn, because this summer touristic season as it is won't finish up until first days of November. So there's still a long way to go. The second news that I wanted to share with you all is something that one of our subscribers mentioned to me in private messages on Instagram. And I've been investigating a little bit about it, and it's actually true. There are piranhas, these carnivore fish that are quite dangerous, that are in some specific parts of the world. But there are some carnivore fish inside of Benidorm beach areas in the Mediterranean Sea. I was absolutely shocked about it. This alert has been happening. It's not the first person that's been telling this. Daily, it's around 15 people who actually go to the healthcare, to the first SOS emergency place on the beach, and say that they've been bitten by some type of fish. I don't know. They don't really know what it is because you cannot see what it actually is. It happens really fast. And this alert's been happening actually since 2017, but each time with years it's more and more frequent. These are some species of the fish that are called obladas. These are these fish right here that you can see on the screen, and they're not the same obviously as piranhas. They're not as aggressive. However, they're called like this, Spanish piranhas, because they attack people, they bite people, and what they do is they search for any kind of lesions on the skin that you have, like moles, something that you have on the skin, or maybe a small lesion, a scratch or something where the skin is recovering right now, and they just bite into it. You can even see on the bite there's like small marks of teeth on it. It's not too severe obviously, but sometimes it can cause obviously bleeding and some uncomfortable, unpleasant sensations while this happens. You don't need to do anything about it, so there's no immediate cure like with jellyfish. There's nothing like this that you can do potentially. But if this happens here, especially on the Poniente beach and Levante one, it's also happening in Alicante and a lot of other areas, just take into consideration that it's not going to be anything giant. They're not going to bite off any piece of part of your body. It's just a small bite, but it's very unpleasant and uncomfortable. Why they are doing this, why these fish are actually have this type of behavior when before it wasn't the case, all this is happening due to extreme temperatures in the Mediterranean Sea. This higher temperature, what it does is it accelerates the metabolism of these species, specifically, probably in a lot of other fish, but this one specifically. And what it does is that they are hungry for more time in the day. They need more food to don't feel hunger. So obviously when they don't have anything around them, they see people floating around and bathing. This is what they are taking on. So bear that in mind. if you will be swimming, especially not by the shore, not by the beach, but if you go slightly inside of the sea, bear that in mind, take necessary precautions. But as was said, it's not something, they don't have any kind of poison inside. There's nothing like this. It's just an unpleasant situation. It's a bite. So we have Mediterranean piranhas in Benidorm town. The last news that I wanted to share with you all obviously comes from here, and this is about Benidorm hotels. Something that has been happening the past couple of years after pandemics is that in winter, you all know that Benidorm hotels, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them, are participating in a specific program where grandpas and grandmas of like pensionists of older age are able to register themselves to the specific program, which is called Imserso. And with this program, they travel really, really cheap to spend 7, 8, 10, 14 days in different areas that have a nicer climate. For example, Benidorm, Valencia, Alicante, Murcia, Torrevieja, etc. And this time, a lot of the hotels probably will be thinking about closing this winter. Many of them work with international tourism, with national like general tourism throughout the whole entire year and months from November, December, January, and February. What they do is that they work with these programs. However, the last couple of years it's been really, really rough. First of all, because these programs are ridiculously cheap and a person pays average between 20 and 26 euros for a night of stay in a four stars hotel with full board, which is breakfast and dinner, or breakfast and lunch, usually it's dinner, plus wine and water included during these main meals. And it's not sustainable anymore. Hotels cannot live with, they cannot pay any of the expenses that they have with what they're gaining, which is basically nothing. They're not gaining anything from these type of groups. And even if it at least helped them to maintain the business afloat, in a sense that the workers were available to maintain their job position throughout the whole entire year round, even now it's not going to be the case any longer, because these groups probably, as per official news, will be arriving somewhere between the end of January and February and March and April months. So they are all shifting towards the more desirable seasons as well for other tourists. We don't know where it will lead to. We don't know how it's going to be happening at the end. However, what we do know is that November, December, and first part of January, which is when people desperately need, hotels desperately need people who will be staying in them in order to maintain the business open and not close down as some hotels already do in winter, it's going to be probably impossible. So we may see this year slightly more hotels closing down for winter season than we did the previous years. Also, many hotels are trying to change their business strategy. For example, more and more of them each time center their attention more towards families and vacations in summer season, and in winter season they center on the sports groups, different types of training groups, and on congresses and big company meetings. So they shift slightly from Imserso in order to make sure that they will thrive during winter and they won't be needing to close down. And obviously they will be able to maintain like this all the job positions that they have right now in place. So this winter is going to be quite interesting. And now let's talk about the weather. What's going to be happening, because the weather has been as crazy as it's only possible during these couple of days. First of all, what we did have is that we have a purple alert that's still here in the country. It's still here in Spain. It's going to be disappearing probably by today's night or tomorrow morning. And this alert is due to the day, now the extreme weather conditions, like the storm that was supposed to be the worst one historically in about 20 to 30 years. But it's not the case. At least it's not the case here in Benidorm. Tourists were still able to enjoy it. It was raining only a tiny bit. And apart from that, it's just cloudy and there's a lot of humidity. It's around 35 real feel right now without the wind. So temperatures are still here and they're quite high, but at least it's not raining. It's not storming. Yesterday we had a very, very strong wind. We had huge waves on the beach. A lot of the beach areas have been eaten by the water and by the waves. But Now everything is back in place. We do have some humid clouds around us, so humidity is quite high, and these clouds, they bring sand as well, so we can even feel it, and the cars are all covered in the sand. But no huge like catastrophic events have been happening here as they did in Madrid, in Cuenca, and in other areas of Spain. So luckily for us, it's been all right. As for the temperatures today, it's going to reach around 35 degrees, as I mentioned already. And all the rest of the days, it should not be raining at least that much, maybe just a tiny bit some of the days in specific hour. But if not, it's just going to be sunny slash cloudy. And the temperatures will be around 30 degrees because humidity will drop by tomorrow. So it's going to be way better. Trust me. The water temperature today is of 27.4 degrees. So still ideal, still very warm to swim in different beach areas here that you can choose from in Benidorm or surrounding areas. Why not if you love to explore? Thank you all for accompanying us on today's Benidorm News Update. I hope you will be having an amazing beginning of a new work week. If you want to see something interesting to do here in Benidorm, something specific, something to discover, different cities, villages, and towns, visit our website, benidormbyannatours.com, and there you have a lot of information about different interesting places and recommended places for your holidays here in Spain and in Costa Blanca. I'll see you in a new video tomorrow. Bye, G's.